Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today I want to talk about the Chaos Dwarves. Well, more so the lack thereof. You see, we were all pretty much banking on the Chaos Dwarfs being the first proper DLC for Total War Warhammer 3. Mostly because, well, you know, Game 1 and Game 2 had a race pack very early on. Both games, Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2, had DLCs within a month, and yeah, I know why we're not getting it now because, well, you know, the game's not doing so well, they need to fix up with patches and hotfixes and all that. So, yeah, fair enough. This was all explained by Creative Assembly's own roadmap for Total War Warhammer 3, which outlined the plans for the rest of the year. Now, this is where things get a little bit interesting. The first DLC, which is to come in the next quarter, isn't a race pack, interestingly enough. Now, this threw a lot of people off, mostly because we were expecting the Chaos Dwarfs, you know, their lands are right there, pretty much all their territories are there, it's only a matter of time, isn't it? However, the first DLC is all but confirmed to be a Warriors of Chaos one because it's coming alongside a Warriors of Chaos rework. Now, don't get me wrong, that's great. Warriors of Chaos have needed help for a long time now. They were the first ever DLC for Total War Warhammer, and yeah, they're not really in a good position. I mean, not even mods could fix them. So the question by the community, and I'm echoing it myself at the moment, is where are the Dwarfs? Well, it's very likely that they have a possibility of being released in Q4. This would be October, November, December with Update 3.0. That is, if we get Update 3.0. This was outlined in the blog once again. This will be linked in the description below if you want a nice read through for it, but it's been a few days, so I imagine that some of you guys have already read it. But essentially what they said is, depending on how the game is doing, they'll either do a major release, which is 3.0, or a smaller update, which is 2.0. So, this is how I'm seeing it. Update 3.0 is likely a race pack that's going to be a big DLC, so, you know, Chaos Dwarfs, and 2.2 is probably going to be another Lord pack. This is something that they've got planned, and they've got DLC ready. My understanding here is that they've got enough content for either or, so then they can decide, okay, Chaos Dwarfs, release that. Or, there has been some data mining regarding Marienburg, which I've had a theory about mini race packs for a while, so instead they could just decide, well, release Marienburg instead. Those are the two races which have been heavily data mined at the moment, so it could be that, it could be something else. For all we know, they could have a Cafe DLC planned, or Kislev, or anything else really, but the data mining suggests otherwise. Now, something did confuse me, which is part of the update, which is, regardless of which path we choose, one major focus of either will be the Immortal Empires game mode. I had reason to believe that that meant that the DLC was specific to Immortal Empires, or tied very heavily, but as far as my understanding is now, it's not the case, we still just don't know exactly what it is. So we're gonna have to wait a while until Q4 to find out, well, you know, this is going to be Chaos Dwarfs, or no, it's going to be a Lord pack. The interesting thing here is that we might have to wait until 2023 to Chaos Dwarfs, which I'll be very honest with you, I'm not keen on that idea. It sounds like it's a bit of a silly decision. If we just had to compare the popularity between Warriors of Chaos and Chaos Dwarfs, well, Chaos Dwarfs would definitely win, especially since we've already had a chance to play Warriors of Chaos, unless they're getting a radical change. But even then, the Dwarfs have always been extremely popular. I honestly believe something like having the Chaos Dwarfs released would bring back a lot of players, because, well, again, it's Chaos Dwarfs, they've always been very highly loved by the Warhammer community, and it's because they're just kind of ridiculous. Well, most Warhammer races are, but the Chaos Dwarfs have always been wildly popular, which is very strange considering, you know, Games Workshop deciding to squat them for a while, then bring them back for 8th, but only through Forge World, so the price of entry was way too high, and even then that wasn't a real full army because it was on a supplement and it wasn't really a full army book, so yeah. So the question stands, why so long of a wait, especially since, well, look, let's be very honest here, okay? The game isn't that bad. It's in a weird state, and yes, some things need to be fixed, but as it stands, the game isn't too bad. It's just the campaign narrative is a bit much. I mean, and I'm just saying this not to just promote the mod, but just in general, once you download the mod to remove the rifts, you go back to the original Warhammer style. You know, it's a traditional Total War, more or less. So this makes me think of two possible answers, and yeah, let's discuss. One, which is the one I want to believe, is that the Chaos Dwarfs are not going to look like the traditional ones from 4th edition or even the ones from 8th edition, but are rather going to get a change and maybe more of a fusing of both aesthetics. This is because, well, we know Chaos Dwarfs are eventually coming to Age of Sigmar. It's something that they've been hinting at a lot, and it's really strange that no announcement has come yet. But we know the Chaos Dwarfs are coming back because it's confirmed in the lore, and they've pretty much just said it without saying it. So it could be that we're getting a new style, and whatever the Chaos Dwarfs look like in Age of Sigmar is what we're going to get in Total War Warhammer. This is not out of the question, considering that we do have Age of Sigmar models already in-game with, say, for example, the Keepers of Secrets. So it's possible, it's very possible, and it would be a great way to cross-promote, because at the end of the day, Warhammer video games are there to sell the Warhammer miniatures. That's pretty much what they're there for. So if the army would launch around the same time as the miniatures, then people would be incentivized to buy the miniatures, which would work out well for Games Workshop, and it's likely that those would be the miniatures that we'd see for Old World 2 through backward compatibility. So yeah, that works out quite well, and given that Games Workshop has been super delayed lately, I mean, well, COVID kind of screwed over a lot of companies, but Games Workshop are horrendously behind releases. This might not be relevant to you Total War fans, but yeah, they've been behind, and the additions for Age of Sigmar and even 40k, you can kind of feel it. You can really feel it, because there's a massive power creep, and it's just not fixing anything. Then there's the second theory, which is the one that kind of worries me. I've been discussing this with other creators, and it could be possible. So, my theory, and that of others, is that the Chaos Dwarfs are done, but they're going to receive a massive change. So data mining suggested that there was 2 legendary lords pretty much ready to go. We've also heard some voice acting and all that, so we know that they are pretty much to the point that they're done. But the theory kind of stands that maybe the Chaos Dwarfs were looking to maybe do the same Demon Souls campaign. Yeah, this is something that I had as a fear right when I started playing a lot of Total War Warhammer 3 and started thinking, oh, this kind of makes sense for the Chaos Dwarfs, for Hashut to go get some demon souls to justify himself becoming more of a patron deity and all that, because Hashut is a minor chaos god, but something like this could elevate him in power, and it just makes a lot of sense. I've spoken to a lot of guys and they all think, yeah, this kind of lines up. And if this is the case, maybe they're changing the narrative for the Realms of Chaos, which means that a lot of stuff needs to get changed, because the player base, let's just be honest about this, did not react to the Realms of Chaos in a very positive light, and Creative Assembly were probably banking on Realms of Chaos being extremely popular due to the narrative. Something like that could warrant a delay. I'm not too sure how big of a delay. I'm not a game dev, but it seems very possible. I don't know, we're gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully they do come out this year, it won't be the Realms of Chaos, but if they do have it with the Realms of Chaos narrative, I mean, at this point, we'd be on the beta, well, at that point I'm assuming we'd be on full release for the Immortal Empires. I don't know if they can justify having the Realms of Chaos campaign for the baseline, because people still need to pay £60 for that, with the main experience being, you know, the true sandbox of Total War on Immortal Empires, or if they'll have some sort of new campaign focused around, say, for example, slaving, you know, just going to attack places, maybe an internal power struggle for the Chaos Dwarfs. I really don't know what they could do. In all honesty, the Realms of Chaos campaign narrative makes a lot of sense, and I hate that it does. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Dwarfs today because it's this year, maybe? Maybe? I really hope that we don't have to wait too long for the Dwarfs. It's something that a lot of us have been waiting for. Time will tell, I guess, but let me know what you guys think. Which theory, either one or two, do you think is the correct one?